in the morning.
Welcome back to our channel, where we dive into the darkest, most hidden corners of Genoa City. Today is a thrilling day to uncover secrets, so pull your chair a little closer to the screen. We have a story that will make your heart race, a narrative so twisted you won't be able to look away. Let us whisper the latest, most chilling revelations right into your ear. Did you know that the most terrifying monsters in Genoa City are not the ones hiding in the shadows, but the ones hiding in plain sight? The sudden, inexplicable disappearance of Diane Jenkins Abbott has sent shockwaves through the Abbott mansion, leaving a trail of shattered nerves and desperate questions. Jack Abbott, a man usually defined by his composed corporate exterior and unyielding confidence, has been reduced to a frantic, pacing shell of himself. The silence left in Diane's wake is absolutely deafening, but Jack is not a man who simply waits for answers to fall from the sky. He deployed his most trusted private investigator, a shadow operative who knows exactly how to dig through the dirt of this town. And what this investigator unearthed is enough to make your blood run cold. After days of relentless, exhausting searching, combing through the forgotten corners of the city, the investigator stumbled upon a relic of pure madness, an old, weathered diary belonging to none other than the notoriously unstable Patty Williams. Something that few people notice is the sheer, terrifying depth of Patty Williams's fixations. This diary is not merely a collection of daily thoughts, it is a rapid, terrifying descent into a fractured mind. Imagine the pages, yellowed and frayed at the edges, covered in frantic, erratic handwriting that shifts wildly from elegant cursive to violent, jagged scribbles. Within these pages lies the undeniable, horrifying proof of Patty's dark obsession with Diane Jenkins. The entries detail a twisted narrative, a labyrinth of jealousy, resentment, and a chilling desire to erase Diane from Jack's life completely. As Jack's investigator handed over this bound volume of insanity, the temperature in the room seemed to plummet. Jack Abbott, holding the physical manifestation of his worst fears, felt the crushing weight of his past mistakes bearing down on his chest. This was not just a book, it was a roadmap to a tragedy he feared he had inadvertently set into motion by rejecting Patty's recent advances. And this is the part that kept me awake at night. The diary was not written in plain, easily digestible language. Oh no, Patty's mind operates in a complex realm of riddles, metaphors, and coded delusions. Jack and his son, Kyle Abbott, were forced to sit together in the suffocating silence of the Abbott living room, poring over the manic writings, desperately trying to decipher the ramblings of a highly dangerous woman. Can you imagine the profound psychological toll this took on Kyle? This young man is currently reliving the most agonizing trauma of his entire childhood, the paralyzing fear of losing his mother all over again. Every coded sentence they cracked, every cryptic reference to eliminating the obstacle, felt like a jagged dagger twisting in Kyle's heart. He was staring directly into the abyss of Patty's mind, searching for a lifeline for the mother he loved so fiercely, terrified of what he might find. As they meticulously analyzed the cryptic passages, a recurring theme began to emerge from the chaos of the ink. Patty repeatedly referenced a safe place, a sanctuary far removed from the judging eyes and the overwhelming noise of Genoa City. She wrote extensively about a retreat where she could hide from her troubles, a secluded place where she could take her problems to be resolved in total secrecy. Did you know that the human mind, when pushed to the absolute brink of desperation, can piece together the most obscure puzzles? Jack and Kyle, fueled by a potent mixture of adrenaline and sheer terror, began to cross-reference these vague, terrifying hints with their deep, historical knowledge of the Williams family. The clues were scattered like breadcrumbs, a mention of isolated woods, the smell of old pine, a structure that had been in her family for generations. Suddenly, the puzzle pieces snapped into place with a horrifying clarity. Jack's eyes widened as the realization hit him like a physical blow to the stomach. The safe place Patty was obsessively writing about was not some random motel or an abandoned warehouse in the industrial district. It was a remote, isolated log cabin owned by the Williams family, situated deep in the dense and forgiving outskirts of the city. It was a property rarely used, forgotten by most, but perfectly suited for someone looking to vanish without a single trace. Or, more sinisterly, perfectly suited for someone looking to make someone else vanish forever. The moment Jack uttered the location, the air in the room grew heavy with an unspeakable dread. They had finally found the X on the map, but the treasure they were hunting for was a human life hanging precariously in the balance. Something that few people notice is the dark, blood-stained history of the locations that surround our beloved Genoa City. This particular Williams family cabin is not just a rustic getaway for weekend retreats, it is a structure steeped in a terrifying legacy. This is the very same isolated cabin where Patty Williams, in her previous descents into severe psychiatric instability, had held people captive against their will. It is a place that has witnessed the sheer terror of her delusions, a physical manifestation of her psychological prisons. Knowing this horrifying history, Jack and Kyle were paralyzed by the chilling realization of what Diane might be going through at this very second. The wooden walls of that cabin have absorbed the screams of the innocent before, and the thought that Diane might be trapped within them. at the complete mercy of a woman who has lost her grip on reality, was enough to push Jack and Carl to the absolute brink of their sanity. And this is the part that kept me awake at night, just thinking about the sheer, visceral terror coursing through Carl Abbott's veins. You must remember that Carl recently had a violently aggressive confrontation with Patty. He had cornered her, his eyes blazing with panic and fury, physically intimidating her to reveal his mother's whereabouts. Patty had only offered him cryptic, maddening smiles and vague denials that chilled him to the bone. Now, holding this decoded diary, Carl realizes that his worst, most terrifying instincts were entirely justified. The diary validates every nightmare he has had since Diane's bed was found empty. The guilt of not being able to protect her, combined with the horrifying imagery conjured by Patty's written obsessions, is a toxic cocktail that is driving Carl to the edge of violence. He is no longer just a worried son, he is a predator hunting for his mother's captor, ready to tear the world apart to find her. In the midst of this suffocating darkness, we are witnessing a profound, heartbreaking evolution of the father-son dynamic between Jack and Kyle. They are no longer arguing over corporate strategies at Abbott or debating the ethical implications of their business maneuvers. They are united by a primal, desperate need for survival. They are two men bonded by their profound love for the exact same woman, standing shoulder to shoulder against a monster. The shared trauma is forging an unbreakable steel between them. Jack, carrying the incredibly heavy burden of guilt for bringing Patty back into their orbit to use against Victor Newman, is looking at his son and silently vowing to fix this catastrophic mistake, even if it costs him his life. They didn't waste another second. They grabbed their coats, their faces set in masks of grim determination, and rushed out into the unforgiving night, embarking on a desperate race against time. The drive to the remote Williams cabin was a journey through a living nightmare. Imagine the scene, the sleek Abbott vehicle tearing through the winding, desolate roads of the outskirts, the headlights cutting through the encroaching darkness like a desperate plea for hope. The atmosphere inside the car was thick with an unspeakable, creeping dread. The whispering shadows of the dense woods surrounding them seemed to mock their frantic efforts, reaching out like skeletal fingers. Every single mile they covered felt like an eternity, every bump in the road a cruel reminder of the ticking clock. Jack's knuckles were stark white as he gripped the steering wheel, his mind racing through 1,000 terrifying scenarios. Kyle sat in the passenger seat, his jaw clenched so tight it looked like it might shatter, his eyes scanning the impenetrable tree line for any sign of life, any sign of his mother. But let me pull you a little closer, because here is the twist that makes us all so incredibly addicted to this drama. Did you know the sheer, unadulterated cruelty of what is actually happening? While Jack and Kyle are risking their lives, tearing through the night, their hearts breaking under the immense weight of this terrifying rescue mission, we know the absolute truth. The dramatic irony is agonizing to watch. Diane Jenkins is not shivering in a dark, damp cabin at the mercy of Patty Williams. Diane is luxuriating in a secure, opulent foreign villa, sipping fine wine, and coldly monitoring the chaos she has unleashed upon Genoa City. She has orchestrated this entire disappearance, faking her own demise or kidnapping to execute a grand, vindictive revenge plot against her enemies. She is actively watching Jack and Carl suffer, allowing them to believe she is in mortal peril, all to manipulate the board for her ultimate, spectacular return. Something that few people notice is just how brilliantly, and horrifically, Diane has weaponized the history of the people around her. She didn't just disappear, she carefully curated a narrative that would point directly at the most logical and stable suspect, Patty Williams. Diane knew of Patty's violent history, her deep obsession with Jack, and her incredibly fragile mental state. By planting the seeds of suspicion and vanishing into thin air, Diane perfectly framed Patty, using the woman's own documented madness against her. Furthermore, Diane has masterfully weaponized Jack's immense guilt. She knew Jack would blame himself for engaging with Patty recently, and she knew Carl's childhood trauma would blind him to any rational investigation. It is a scheme of breathtaking brilliance and absolute, chilling sociopathy. Diane is prioritizing her vengeance over the mental well-being of the two men who love her most in this world. And this is the part that kept me awake at night. What happens when Jack and Carl finally arrive at that cabin? As the tires crunch loudly on the gravel driveway of the isolated property, the suspense reaches an unbearable, deafening crescendo. The cabin looms in the darkness, silent, imposing, and full of terrifying secrets. We can feel the breathless anticipation as Jack and Carl step out of the car, the cold night air biting fiercely at their skin. They approach the heavy wooden doors, their hearts pounding a frantic, desperate rhythm against their ribs. What will they find when they kick down that door? Will they find the remnants of Patty's madness? Will they find a deadly trap? Or will they find an empty, echoing room that only deepens the horrifying mystery of Diane's whereabouts? The violent collision course between their desperate hope and Diane's cruel deception is about to reach its explosive climax. It is this exact, heart-stopping tension that binds us together, isn't it? The way these characters are pushed to their absolute psychological limits, the way the dark past constantly bleeds into the present, creating a magnificent tapestry of betrayal and desperate love. We are all thoroughly addicted to the thrill of the chase, the uncovering of the hidden diary, and the chilling realization that in Genoa City, the most dangerous lies are the ones told by the people you love the most. As Jack and Carl prepare to breach the cabin, we are right there with them, holding our breath in the dark, waiting for the truth to finally step into the light. Keep your eyes wide open, because in this town, a secret is never truly buried, and the next shocking revelation is always just behind a locked door.